What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA show, and we are back after a crazy weekend. Justin had 2 shows. Kobe, I'm just going to mute your mic until you're ready to talk just because of the background noise. I'm going to mute it for the time being.
Should I just go up?
Yeah, just go upstairs. Yeah, that'll be all right.
That'd be great. I'll mute it until you get up there. So, yeah, we had a crazy weekend. Justin did his first ever commentating gig. Well, not first. Well, you've done maybe guest appearances for them, but you did your first as lead commentator for Tough Enough. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, man. I've done a couple fill-ins for guys and had been the secondary, but this is the first time. This is my production. It's my crew. It's my first show as the lead. Some things I liked about it, some things I didn't like about it. Meeting with Justin Bernard tonight, discuss all those things. But I see a very bright future in the Tough Enough and the Fusion Cage. Fusion, you and I both did Fusion Saturday. I did Tough Enough Friday. Fortunately, I was there to watch Colby. To no surprise, he performed just like I tell everyone he was going to do, and he got the finish very, very quick in the first round.
All right, so we're going to talk to Kobe in 1 second. He's at Extreme Couture right now. He's just making his way upstairs, and we're going to chat with him. Johnny Monday says, another 10-7 MMA live show. Let's go. Also, guys, I tried to have this ready last Friday, but it wasn't delivered in time. I haven't showed you guys this. Hold on, I'm going to cue this up real quick. 1 second.
Hell yeah, let's go.
So Justin got it, and Kobe, you can check this out as well. I'm going to unmute Kobe now. So check this out. We had a little shout out for Justin prior to commentating at Tough Enough, prior to Kobe's fight at Tough Enough, and we're going to talk to Kobe about his crazy finish. But look who made an appearance or is making an appearance on our show. Check this out. Henry Cejudo, triple champ. Here we go.
So this is a public service from yours truly, Triple C, the Olympic champ, the flyweight champ, and the bantamweight champion of the world. And I just want to give a special shout out to the former UFC lightweight. I'm talking about you, Justin Janus. I just want to say congratulations on everything, bro. I also want to give a big shout out to 10-7 MMA show. You guys are absolutely killing the game. But Justin, good luck on commentating for Tough Enough this weekend, bro. We all know that you're there, that UFC is going to be calling pretty soon. I keep up the good work. Sincerely. From the
right there.
We'll see.
Fucking legend.
Justin Janus.
Janus, yeah. I've met this motherfucker a whole bunch of times. I don't know why he pronounced my name wrong, fucking asshole.
So funny. But anyways, I got that off of Cameo, if you guys are wondering. So I tried to get it set up by Friday with the 24-hour notice. It wasn't quick enough, but we got it. I want to have it for the show, and there it is. But anyways, talking about Tough Enough, we have one of the fighters from that Tough Enough Friday card, Kobe Fair, who trains with Justin at Extreme Couture. And who wants to talk about the fight outcome, Justin or Kobe?
I'd like to go first because here's the problem with Colby. This motherfucker is way too humble. He's, you listen to him talk and you don't understand how good this kid really is, man. And Colby Farr has been in Extreme Couture for a couple of years now. He's the only guy that's smaller than me. And I'm talking about, I go with Aljamain Sterling. I've been with Marab. And I'm not saying I can get up and beat these guys. I go with Patchy Mix. I'm not saying that I get up and smash these guys, but I can hold my own. When I go with Colby Farr, it's like a different animal, man. It's a lot smaller than me. He has a lot of tricks. In my opinion, he is the most underrated guy in the gym right now, just because he's not to the UFC. I expect Colby Farr to be in the UFC by the end of the year. He gets in, he shows up at Tough Enough. He does everything I expect him to do against a game opponent, throws a right leg kick, switches to stand southpaw, shoots a shot, takes him down, jumps on his back like a backpack, subs him in 20 seconds. Now, here's the thing. You listen to Colby talk, you guys are about to listen to him talk. He's not going to brag. He's not going to boast. This guy comes from humble beginnings, and I really like him to take a couple minutes and talk about those beginnings, talk about the adversity he's played in. And if you don't mind, Colby, I don't want to talk too in depth, but you and I have talked at the gym before of where you come from and how it's, you like your town is just like ridden with drugs, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to get out of that environment and get to Las Vegas and to be the high level wrestler that you and the high level MMA fighter, guys, I'm a lightweight that weighs 170 pounds. I'm a former college wrestler. And anytime I grapple or wrestle with Colby, this guy puts it on me. Colby, take it away, man. Tell us about your beginnings. Tell us about where you're from. Tell us about all the adversity you've went through.
And before he does that, can I just I want to hear your take on the fight. What you went in there, you got this. You said you got to finish in 20 seconds. I mean,
20 seconds, rear naked choke.
Yeah. Can you just walk us through that beginning of the fight and what was going through your mind?
Shoot, I mean, I felt like a regular day, except there's no conditioning after. Uh, I mean, I knew the kid was good at striking or whatever, and I knew he kicked kind of hard, had decent knees, pretty solid Muay Thai. So I was just planning on getting in there, getting him to strike with me a little bit, and then making him forget about the wrestling, and then disappearing underneath him and finishing a takedown and trying to end the fight. But what I usually like to do is I like to beat the submission out of people. So like I put them on their back and I put them in a dilemma where they're like, if I stay on my back, he's gonna keep punching me. If I show him my back, like I want them to think the best path out is to be submitted, right? Like I try to hit them first and then make them give up their neck without too much force, but because if you force a choke, you could waste your energy a lot. Like see a lot of guys UFC fights, they think they're gonna get the first sub, but the guy's not ready to quit yet. So what I try to do is I try to beat the sub out of them and make them quit, so then they're easier to choke. So,
Mental warfare.
but my jiu-jitsu has gotten so much better that like now, like I used to have like C+ jiu-jitsu, now I think I have like A- jiu-jitsu. So if I get a choke, it doesn't matter if you want to quit or not, because I'm not choking you, I'm strangling you. I'm taking the blood, I'm draining it, making sure your brain doesn't get any blood, and then you fall asleep. So it doesn't really matter if you want to be choked or not. It's not like I'm just grabbing a guy by his Adam's apple and squeezing.
Right.
Like, no, I'm cutting the blood off to your brain, man. Once that happens, doesn't matter how tough you are, you could, think it's a scam. In wrestling, I was a pinner. I always pinned people, so sometimes they feel like they got scammed, but it's like, dog, that just happened, like it's over now.
It's by the way, we got a comment from Jay Rance. As you're describing that, I'm just laughing because it sounds so terrifying. You're talking about just beating the will out of somebody and then choking them unconscious. It's so crazy. But yeah, Jay Rance says good fight IQ, I believe, and he says it's over. I think he's talking about how quick you got that finish, and that's crazy. 20 seconds. Now we talked about last time how you're one of the basically based on where you are in your career in terms of the number of professional fights, nobody has ever been signed this quickly to dominance. And that is Ali Abdelaziz, the biggest agent in the game. And he had to have Kobe Fair on his roster well before he's made his UFC debut, which is pretty much unheard of. So that also is another testament to how incredibly good Kobe is. I think one of the coolest things for having Kobe on last week and now again this week is hopefully we're going to be kind of the first show that has featured Kobe as he's about to make his UFC debut. Now, Justin, you said that Kobe's going to make the UFC by the end of this year. Do you think, or Kobe, let me ask you,
He has to stay active though. He has to stay active.
Oh, so you do need one more
I think
fight.
What, he 3-0, Kobe?
Yeah, 2-0 technically.
Yeah. So I mean, here's the thing, guys, and I'm just going to reiterate: this guy is the hottest prospect. He's the guy that, when I'm looking for a partner, I'm hoping Kobe doesn't see me. I'll go with anybody. I'll go with Jake Shields, and I'm not saying I can beat all these guys, but there's something different about Kobe. When I go with Kobe, there's his pressure, his grind, his fight IQ. It's something special, and whether he knows it or not, it's something fucking special. I've been in this game since 2007. I've had 79 competitions. And listen, guys, if you guys don't know, follow this guy on Instagram, support this guy. This kid is something special. And I'm quoting it here now. And I think if everything goes according to plan, I see Kobe Fair as the UFC champion one day. And I'm not just saying that because he's on our show. I genuinely believe that. There's nobody, including Patchy Mix, including Aljamain Sterling, including Marab, that handles me the way this kid does.
Now, Jay Rands asks what weight class. I think you told me, I know you fight at bantamweight, but didn't you say you can also make flyweight?
Yeah, I can make flyweight if I get like 8-week camp, but the problem is I'll get a fight 30 days out. I'll say yes, and then like the kids will maybe like pull out like 20 days before the fight, and then I'll end up left with no opponent. And then that's kind of the reason why I've been inactive. People will pull out, and then they know that it's like borderline a UFC level fight for, shit pay, like 700 and 700. It's like, they know they're not getting that second check, so they're gonna come there and get $700 and an ass whooping, and then.
So your opponents kind of know how good you are for the most. Like there's enough.
I think so. I think so. Extreme Couture has
the only person that doesn't know how good Kobe is Kobe. Like, he's the most humble guy you ever meet. You talk to anybody in the gym. And I'm sorry I cut you off, Kobe, but
No, it's okay.
I get excited talking about you because I've always seen this in you since the day I met you. That's like, you know, when you were having that little mental lapse a couple weeks ago, I wanted to reach out personally and talk to you about sticking to the path, man. And I tell you what, throughout my 79 competitions, I had so many fallouts. Trying to make my pro debut was the hardest thing ever because I was pretty tough coming up through the amateur rankings. I was pretty tough as a pro, but I'm not like you. So I couldn't imagine having that. But the thing is just sticking to the plan. And even when these fights fall out, and you're going to have more fights fall out, you're going to have a UFC debut lined up and your opponent could get hurt, or a PFL, or whatever it is. But as long as you stick to the path that you're destined for, and I can see it, and everybody at the gym can see it, you will be the champion, whether it's in the PFL, whether it's in the UFC, whether it's in one, whatever the fuck you decide to do, you will achieve that. And I firmly believe that, and I always have.
We got another couple of people are very curious about. Yep, exactly. So Jay Ramsey said what gym he trains at: the very famous Extreme Couture with Eric Nixick, Sean Strickland, Francis Ngannou, Justin James. The entire crew is at Extreme Couture. So obviously, if these guys are saying he's the next big thing, I think they know a thing or two about mixed martial arts in the UFC. Andrew Nance says, let's effing go. And sup boys. And Celine is also in the mix, and she says hi guys as well. All right, we have a ton of topics to talk about today, and I definitely want to shine the spotlight more on Colby as we go throughout the show and really leverage his amazing expertise. I thought he did such a tremendous job of breaking down some of the fights and the matchups that are up and coming on his first appearance. So I definitely want to use Kobe and his expertise when it comes to that when we get to those topics. But let's jump into the mix. We got to start at the top. Me and Justin both made videos about this amazing victory by Ian Garry, but I mean, you could, well, I guess it was 3-2. I still don't understand why it was 3-2, by the way. Kobe, let me turn it over to you because Justin and I have already kind of talked about this on the YouTube channel. Did you think that was a 48-47, or did you feel like that was a 49-46 in favor of Ian Garry?
I got to be honest. I didn't catch the fight. I know I was wrong because I assumed that Carlos was going to beat Garry just because of the way that the Fighting Nerds, how they approach like their preparation and how they have a real solid team, and they got this like nerd breaking shit down with the analytics and figuring out like what movements guys do to take things away. So I thought Carlos was gonna find a way to take away Ian Garry's like best tools and nullify him. I did see that he hurt him in the 5th round. I saw a little highlight where he hurt him. So I don't know. It's hard to decide like what you judge a fight off of, like if you're judging it off of like a back alley situation, or if you're judging it off of like a sport, like who's counting up more strikes, who hurt each other worse. But to me, I just saw the highlight. I saw Ian Garry rolling around, and he looked like he was badly compromised.
But he looked, I thought he looked amazing in the first 4 rounds. He looked so good until that very last round. Justin, let me turn it over to you. What did you think of the scoring? Well, let's first talk about Ian Garry's performance, but I'd love to also get your thoughts on the scoring because I felt it was a 49-46, but I am no expert in scoring by any means.
You know, I felt that Ian Garry started to fade as the fight went on. You know, when I listened to Belal Muhammad's breakdown of the fight, they thought going into the 4th, 5th round, that's where Ian Garry was really going to shine because Carlos Prates has so many finishes. But to no avail, man. Carlos Prates was able to fight for 25 minutes, and you know we got to watch that last round in the car, which was awesome, man. And obviously, you know, I had money on Carlos Prates, so I was going a little crazy. But Ian Garry is evolving as an MMA fighter. He's not just a striker anymore. He has good wrestling. He has good grappling. He displayed that. He had a bunch of takedowns. He had some great control time. And I think just going into the 5th round, from taking all those shots, he was gassed. Not to mention, Carlos Prates was throwing that left high kick over and over and over. And, you know, I heard the commentary team talking about possibly Ian Garry's left arm being compromised. But seeing that he is the fill-in now for the championship fight against Belal and Shavkat, I don't think he was injured.
What a legend, by the way, to go in, win this fight. He had planned it out ahead of time. He'd already booked this flight. Some people were saying that, man, if he loses, it's going to be a big embarrassment. But I feel like it's just so great that he has that mentality. He doesn't care. He powers forward. Yeah, that could have been embarrassing. But I love that he's just so focused on getting done exactly what he wants to achieve. And I think if that doesn't inspire people, I know I see Jay Rand's put in a comment here. Ian is a little cringe, but I've never counted him out. He's going to be champ. I feel like if people are getting so hung up on the things he says, or maybe they don't like his personality or this and that, you're not paying attention to the bigger picture. And I think the bigger picture is not only is he a tremendous athlete, but he's got a bulletproof mindset and just a crazy will to win. And I think that can be, regardless of whether his trash talk is your brand of trash talk, but I think we can take away a lot of positives from the way he carries himself. Now, another thing, Justin, I want to turn over to both of you guys. Actually, I'll hear Justin's thoughts first, and we'll turn over to Kobe. Ian Garry was criticized by some, MMA guru in particular, for the number of takedowns. If I'm remembering the stat correctly, I think he had 26 takedowns attempted and only completed 6 of those takedowns. So people were criticizing him for that. My thought was that was a perfect game plan because he kept Carlos Prates guessing constantly, had no idea whether a shot was coming, whether striking was coming. And I think that's part of the recipe that limited Carlos Prates' effective striking. So I thought it was brilliant. But Justin, let me turn over to you first. What were your thoughts on that takedown success rate and how it played into the outcome of the fight?
Man, I tell you what, this is not a kickboxing match. This is an MMA fight. And, I'm sure Kobe will agree with me right now. When you have Ian Garry, such a high level striker coming in, knocking everybody out, putting everybody back with their striking, they're not worried about his grappling. But, when he fought MVP, he displayed that he could wrestle. He displayed that he could grapple. Now he's going against Carlos Prates, 8-0 in the UFC. Or 4-0 in the UFC with 4. Is that Carlos, or am I getting the two? I get the two nerds mixed up a lot. But regardless, undefeated in the UFC, finishes in the UFC. Like, he has to keep it. This is an MMA fight. I think Ian Garry is evolving as a fighter, showing that, hey, look, I'm not just a striker. I can wrestle. I can grapple. And I tell you what, when you get in a fight with me, you better be on point and everything. You can't just be sharp in your striking. You need to watch your grappling. 26 takedown attempts in a 5-round fight. That's incredible. And it's just showing how much Ian Garry is evolving as an MMA fighter.
Kobe, let me turn it over to you in terms of that takedown rate. I mean, do you applaud him for just mixing it up as much as he did to keep Carlos Prates guessing? Do you find fault in the fact that he had that percentage of takedown success? What are your thoughts?
I mean, if you're attempting that much, you could make the argument that it's inefficient to be spamming takedowns like that. That also makes sense to see why he was so tired in the 5th round in the highlights that I saw. But I mean, you got to give him credit for putting that workload together. That's not an easy night to, attempt 26 takedowns in a 25-minute fight is commendable in my book. But I mean, I think it's kind of impressive. And once you start mixing in takedowns, it makes your striking a little more effective because your opponent can't tell if you're playing the up-down game. Like, is this guy fitting in? Now it's easier to throw kicks. It's easier to do a lot of stuff. And truthfully, it's impressive because I don't think he grew up wrestling, and to show off that much versatility is pretty neat. I don't know who's Gary's trainer.
He trains at Shoot the Box, same gym where Charles Oliveira trains in Brazil.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because Oliveira has some solid takedowns for a jiu-jitsu guy. But yeah, I think that's impressive, truthfully. There's pros and cons to everything. It's like being an armchair quarterback right now. It's like, obviously he should have been more efficient. If I attempt 26 takedowns and I only got 6 of them, I'd be pretty pissed. But also credit to him for being willing to go out there and find a way to get the fight done. And if takedowns was the path to victory, then obviously he won the fight. So I think that's overall a good thing.
Can't argue with the success. And that was my feeling when I picked him. I just felt like he was going to do whatever he needed to do to get the job done. I thought you made a really good point prior to the fight, Colby, about the team behind Carlos Prates and saying it, hey, that's your argument for why you think they're just going to formulate a perfect game plan and he's going to come out victorious. But I had confidence in Ian Garry that he didn't care whether it's the most entertaining, and it was a very entertaining fight actually, but he was going to do whatever he needed to do to get the job done. He's a very high fight IQ, and so he did it. It's amazing. What do you guys? He's going to be the backup fighter. Okay, and this is the question that everybody's asking because the welterweight division is insane right now. Joaquin Buckley is about to fight Kamaru Usman. We have what's his name? The wrestler Sean Brady near the top of the division who just beat Leon Edwards. I mean, there's such, and then we have Shavkat in the wings. We don't know what's happening, but Ian Garry is flying over to be the backup fighter for Belal versus JDM. After that fight takes place, who do you think should be next in line for the title? Justin, let me take it over to you first.
Man, there's just so many great guys right now. But I mean, Ian Garry's made his point. You know, he's only lost to Shavkat. He didn't get finished. Shavkat came into that fight 18-0, 18 finishes. They go to decision. He falters, but then comes up against Carlos Prates and wins. There's no question in my mind Ian Garry's next.
Oh, I love it. I hope so. I hope so. Kobe, you agree or disagree?
Based off of like what fans want to see, and I'm sure the UFC is smart. They're gonna pick the guy that's bringing the most eyes, but I guess I'm biased, but I think Sean Brady.
Oh yeah, Sean Brady's a great. He's undefeated, I believe.
I mean, I steal a lot from Sean Brady. I think I've been doing some of the same stuff as Sean, but only in gyms where people don't see it. But the idea of like being a hybrid and taking wrestling and jiu-jitsu and pairing them together and making them like the same, and I'm pretty sure, doesn't Sean Brady got a win over Craig Jones in grappling?
Let me double check.
Here, I want to answer this while you're double checking that. How can Ari be against? He lost a decision. He lost a decision to the guy that's fighting for the belt, and he lost by decision. Now he goes up against Shavkat, 18-0, takes the fight, which I didn't really like him taking the fight. If Shavkat goes in there and beats him, and his only loss now is to the champ, how can you dispute that he's not next in line? There's a reason he is the fill-in, and his only loss, and Shavkat has a good chance of beating Belal. Shavkat goes in there and beats Belal. I mean, I don't see, and Sean Brady, absolutely. If they throw Sean Brady in there next, I'm totally fine with that. But if Shavkat goes in there and beats Belal, which could happen.
Well, JDM, remember, it's JDM next. Shavkat's still injured.
Oh, Shavkat's still there. We'll scratch that then. Well, then Shavkat will probably be next, actually. Never mind. I had it confused. But, I mean, still, if he sits around, I mean, he can take another fight. But, man, he's taking all these tough fights. Fighting Shavkat at 18-0 is just incredible. And if he's not next, he's next after that.
And I want to respond to Jasper too, because you're saying he needs 2 more fights. I really think that's way out. I totally disagree with that. We have to think about, okay, look at what Ian Garry did. Yes, he lost to Shavkat, but it's Shavkat, number 1. And number 2, he took that fight on short notice to save that UFC card when Belal got injured. So he took it on short notice. He was supposed to fight Joaquin Buckley, had to take it short notice and for an opponent that he hadn't properly trained for, and barely lost. In this fight, I know if you just look at the numbers, you might say, well, he beat number 13. Why does he get a title shot? People said something similar about Justin Gaethje versus Fiziev. But again, what did he do? He stepped in there. He wasn't supposed to fight. He wasn't scheduled to fight Carlos Prates. I think it was Jeff Neal or something. I think Jeff Neal that had to pull out of the fight. So Ian Garry stepped in to save the day. Justin himself, as a UFC fighter, said this was a terrible move. This was not a smart choice. Ian Garry could have easily passed on this fight, but he didn't. I think he deserves a lot of credit, and I think the UFC is going to reward him because he's really stepped up to save a couple cards and performed really well in both of those. I don't think that would be fair for 2 more fights. I think if he's not next, let's say Shavkat comes back early enough and is able to fight, he should be the one after that. I don't think he needs another win. That's my personal opinion. Plus, on top of that, as Kobe mentioned, he's going to bring a ton of eyeballs, whether you hate him or love him. People are going to watch that title fight in droves. I guarantee it. Those are my 2 cents. But yes. And then I think, Jasper, you said, I don't even think Shavkat. Oh, you think Buckley? Yeah, I mean, well, Buckley's can't be next because he's fighting Kamaru Usman. I get that. I get the Brady argument. Shavkat, yes, but he's injured. He was scheduled to fight, so we'll see. But I think Ian Garry and Brady are kind of like neck and neck. I feel like if the UFC goes either way, I'm happy with it. Kobe, what do you think?
I mean, Brady's
that's a lot to unravel.
That's a lot to unravel. Yes,
Brady's a horrible matchup for anyone. I mean, Muhammad spanked him, right?
Yeah, Belal beat him. Brady has said though that he.
I feel so bad for Belal Muhammad. Everyone hates him and they hate his style, and he's so well rounded and such a complete fighter. Yeah, he kind of gets a bad rap. Like people.
I think it's just because he doesn't get finishes. He has no finishes. He has no knockdowns. He has no finishes. It's just I don't think I agree with you.
0 knockdowns in all his fights, or 0.
Correct.
And let's just jump into topic number 3 since we're talking about Belal. Go ahead, keep riffing, guys.
I
No
mean,
knockdowns, no finishes. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I think he's a great all-around fighter. And I'm sorry I cut you off a couple times
no, it's
already.
all good.
I just
It's all
get these
good.
ideas, but because I agree with you, he's such a great overall fighter. But if you're not finishing fights, who wants to watch 25 minutes of MMA all the time? I mean, like,
It's
I like
true.
watch a round or two. I don't want to see a guy get fucked up, a guy get hurt. But Belal goes 25 minutes every fight. It's like, bro, like I need to order a pizza. I need to order a 12-pack of beer. Maybe actually I need to order a 24-pack of beer because by the time the fight's over, I'm gonna be done with 12 beers and I have my whole pizza to eat. Like it's just watching 25 minutes of fighting every single time, knowing that Belal's not gonna finish it's just so much and it's exhausting. I feel like I could take a nap. You know, in
Rather
baseball, they
watch
call
golf.
it like you know, in baseball, I call it like the 7th inning stretch where you get up and go to drink. Like that's the 3rd round for Belal. Like I'm going to get up in the 3rd round. I'm going to go get my beer. I'm going to go get my pizza because I know I have another I can take a full 3rd round off and come back for the last 2. Anyways, Colby,
we got a comment, Justin. Somebody responding to you saying basically, yo, you're talking about Belal. He's like, dude, Belal finished Brady. That's right, he did finish Brady, who y'all were glazing. That's a fair point. Together Strong, welcome to the show. I think this is a new listener, but that's a fair point. Colby, go ahead, take it away. Tell us what you were saying about Belal and your thoughts on him.
I mean, I think he's well-rounded, comes out of a good camp, efficient. He's always making the right choices. Kind of like I don't know a good analogy of like another athlete, but like back in the day, LeBron James would kind of get scrutiny for passing out of a shot when the fans would say, "Why didn't he yank that?" or "Why didn't he pull that?" It's like, oh, he made the right play, and like I think has a super high IQ. But that is crazy that he finished Sean Brady. But also, I feel like if they had another crack at it, I think Brady would probably find a way to get it done. But I'm obviously biased a little bit towards Brady.
For
So
sure.
someone was telling me the other day, they're like, you look like if Frankie Edgar and Sean Brady had a kid. I'm like, fuck, man, that's just fucked up.
We're getting fighter hybrids now entering the UFC. All the new fighters are going to look like blends of previous fighters. That's perfect. By the way, Jay Rands, new to the show, is saying like and subscribe, people. Let's go. Thank you, Jay Rands, for your support. All right, let's talk about this matchup. Colby, let me turn it to you first, and then we'll go back to Justin. Belal is fighting JDM very soon. JDM known for tremendous and very crisp boxing. I think most people are picking Belal to get this job done, but of course it's MMA. You never know what's going to go down. Colby, who do you favor in this matchup and why?
Oh, I'm always wrong, but I would go Muhammad on economy mode. Fucking like Justin's saying, like in a lot of wrestling matches in high school, right? There'd be certain kids on my team. My dad would say, "Hey, during this match, I'm gonna go take a piss. This guy's so boring," right? I feel like Muhammad's gonna get it done. That same economy mode, not a lot of risk. Uh, Good entries, back him up to the fence, flash it over, fit in, drag him down to the ground, very little ground and pound, just pin, like a really ultra boring Dagestani, you know. But
Justin,
I would bet on Muhammad if I were betting.
Justin, what about you?
I got to go with Belal, man. It's just, I agree 100% with Colby. He's the one thing, and to correct, I know I over exaggerate by saying he has no finish. He has 3 finishes in the UFC. But regardless to that, still at that 3rd round, I'm taking my 3rd round stretch. I'm going to grabbing a beer. I'm going to grab a pizza. Regardless, back to Belal. Yeah. Belal is an expert at making fights boring. He's an expert at slowing the pace down. And I talk about this with fighters. You have to make fighters fight at your pace. Like Colby, it fights at an incredible pace. He's fast. He's in. He's out. He's up. He's down. He's all around. You can't keep up with him, man. And that's his attribute. My attribute as a fighter is slowing the pace down and making guys, or even wrestling, slowing the pace down. Like the reason I've had success in wrestling is I can go against fast guys because I'm going to bang into an underhook or get to a front headlock and slow the pace down. I'm going to wear on him. And I think that's what Belal is an expert at doing. He is an expert at making guys fight at his pace. He decides the pace of the fight, and his cardio is so out of this world that he can slow guys down. He can put them up against the fence. He grinds on them, gets guys frustrated, gets guys taking risks, puts guys down on cards. So when you're down by 2 rounds or 3 rounds, you need to start taking risks. You need to start throwing big shots to look for this knockout. Well, when Belal knows that and he's ahead by two or three rounds, he knows these guys are going to open up and start taking more risks, which in turn plays to his game plan. I'm taking Belal against JDMA.
I think I got to agree with you, and that's what most people are saying about Belal. It's very interesting just by these picks. Maybe he's still not the biggest fan favorite, but I think he's getting a lot of respect just when it comes to people choosing who's going to win because they recognize his skill and his talent. And yeah, Together Strong, I saw that comment. He said, had to keep it real, no hard feelings when he corrected us about Belal and that finish that he did get over Sean Brady. But he says, you guys have a great channel. Let's go. We're trying to grow. So make sure to subscribe, my friend. And if you guys could click that like button, it really helps a lot. I'm just going to highlight a couple of comments, and we're going to move on to the next topic. We gotta keep it moving. And yes, just going back, Johnny Money did say he agreed with me about my take on Ian Garry. He has a winner's mindset. Absolutely. Jasper said also, I don't even think Shavkat should be next in the welterweight division. Oh, yeah, I think we did talk about this comment. He wants Buckley, Brady. Okay, fair enough. And then Jasper also responds to Jay Rans. I do agree that Usman Buckley against Garry, the winner of Usman Buckley against Garry, I would be okay with that, actually. I'd be fine with that. I think at least he needs a number one contender fight. We have many good contenders to get Garry a shot. Yeah, I would be fine with that. I'd love to see Joaquin Buckley. I think Ian Garry beats Joaquin Buckley, but that's my opinion. Okay, let's move on to topic number 2. Justin, I actually made a video. I kicked the video out right before the show started about Anthony Smith and his retirement. And the main point of the video, I kind of talked about the conversations that you and I have had about you stepping away from the sport and now embracing this next chapter of your life as a commentator, as an analyst, doing our thing on YouTube and focusing more on training, etc. And I wanted to get your thoughts as Anthony Smith did step away, looking at the performance and maybe his last cut. He's been on a little bit of a skid. And even in his final showdown where he knew it was his retirement fight, he comes out and he was soaking it in, but little things like at the end of the when he got finished, he was like flicking some guy off in the audience and almost seemed like he was going to jump over the fence. And I just thought, man, to me, this is kind of like what you've been telling me so many times, that as you get later in your career, varies of course from person to person. Belal is 36, obviously, but like, you might start to click out a little bit, check out a little bit, or you might not want to push that extra to get out of certain positions and whatnot. And that's exactly why when I saw that, I was like, I'm happy that Smith is retiring now because he's got a great career ahead of him as an analyst. Justin, let me turn over to you. What are your thoughts? What are your sentiments as Anthony Smith steps away in light of everything I just mentioned?
Man, Anthony Smith is awesome. I don't know why he gets so much hate, man. He's fought for the UFC championship. He's had so many injuries, the things he's had to persevere to get through where he's at. I think he's just an OG of the sport. I'm bummed out that he had such a hard retirement fight. I think he was like a minus 300 dog going into the fight, man. And obviously, here's the thing with MMA, more than not, including myself included, if you're a true fighter, you don't retire on top. You retire, you go out on your shield, man. And that's exactly what Anthony Smith did. He took on a tall task, going against the odds. He tried to show up. And unfortunately, guys like Anthony, guys like me later in our career, we're just tired. Our bodies are tired. Our mind is tired. And, if you continue to fight, it doesn't matter who you are, John Jones included, George St. Pierre, Khabib got out. Eventually, Khabib was going to lose. George St. Pierre has lost. If you continue to fight long enough, the sport will catch up to you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care who you are. Ask Anderson Silva. When I'm talking about Anderson Silva, one of the greatest middleweights of all time, 16-fight win streak in the UFC, like 9 title defenses, something crazy. Obviously, it might not be exactly 9, but I knew he was on a 16-fight win streak. He kept fighting. He gets a tib-fib fracture, comes back, wins a fight, then loses a bunch in a row. Guys, this sport is the most unforgiving sport in the world. If you stick around long enough, you will go out on your shield. And that's what Anthony Smith did. And I wish that people would respect that a little bit more and understand that these guys that are sticking around year after year, fight after fight, injury after injury, eventually they're just not going to be able to compete anymore. And when they continue to compete, eventually they're going to go on their shield. And that's what Anthony Smith did. And I have the utmost respect for everything Anthony Smith has done in the sport.
All right. I thought that was amazingly well put. Let's leave it there. We're going to jump to Colby going on to topic number 4 because we had some big news over the weekend. I barely got to talk about this.
Colby, I'm sorry to interrupt you. David, do you have a cutoff time? Or you have a cutoff time?
No,
Colby?
no, I'm cool.
Okay, cool.
All good.
All right. So Colby, let me turn it over to you because we had 2 major announcements over the weekend. I mean, there's more. I think there was more than just 2 fight announcements, but 2 fight announcements that I wanted to talk about in particular. First of all, we have, we'll talk about Joaquin Buckley versus Usman next. That's a really, really good one. But let's talk about Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway for the BMF belt. Colby, let me turn it over to you. What were your thoughts when you heard this fight finally being announced? I know there were rumors, but what are your thoughts now that it's official?
Just I feel bad for their wives and their families because they're gonna beat the fuck out of each other. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be a violent fight. Neither guy really takes a step back unless it's like for the right reason. It's not like they run from each other. I see Poirier pulling his shorts up, doing his little Louisiana swamp trash style where he pulls the shorts up and double pillar blocking a lot of stuff. But that's gonna be a tough ass fight. I don't know if I could pick a winner. I think it's just such a crapshoot. They're both going to be hit a lot. And it'll come down to like the later rounds. It's a 5-rounder, right?
I'm pretty sure because it's a BMF title fight. So I'm almost
Definitely
positive
rounds, for
5
sure.
rounds. Yeah.
Yeah. Then, I don't know, man. It depends on who's taken more damage over the years. Possibly, you could see somebody getting sat down by a shot that maybe it doesn't look like it should have hurt him. Does that make sense? I could see
Yep.
one or the other going down to something that you wouldn't expect. Holloway's pretty freaking polished. He doesn't take too much damage, right? Overall.
Typically, no. Of course, in the last fight, obviously he is bouncing back after that recent knockout from Ilia Topuria. But who knows, right? He's had plenty of time to recover and recuperate, so that may not be an issue. But we're gonna see some really, really good boxing. That is for sure. We're gonna see some awesome MMA boxing, which I'm very excited about. And if I had to pick, I'm not the best picker. I just pick for fun, right? But my pick, I'm actually choosing. I just listened to Dustin Poirier on Ariel Helwani's show earlier this morning, and just from a pure mindset standpoint, I love how Ariel asked him, are you going to do anything different? Are you going to really soak it in as you have this final camp? And all Dustin said was, I just want to do everything perfect in this camp. I want to push myself. I want to grind myself. I want to really relish in the pain, relish in the struggle of the entire process and leave no stone unturned. I just feel like he's not stepping in there just to take a final bow in his city. He's stepping in there to give it one last best of the best performance that he can muster. And that's why I think he's going to get it done. Justin, let me turn over to you. What are your thoughts on this fight and how do you think it's going to go down?
Love the fight. I can't remember who it was, but I think like Dustin was either Max's first fight in the UFC, and Max will be Dustin's last fight in the UFC. I'm pretty sure.
Something
I
like
love
that.
the
Yeah.
storyline. This is the third time they're going at it. But my biggest concern in making this fight here is Max Holloway's head right. When you take a brutal knockout like Ilia Topuria gave him, is he going to be the same fighter coming back? I mean, people are, oh yeah, easy, yeah, of course he is, Well, it's a lot easier said than done, guys. Showing back up, and I expect Max Holloway to be the same fighter, but again, you always have that in the back of your head. Once you get knocked out once, it's easier to get knocked out again. And the way Max Holloway fights and the way Dustin Poirier fights, these guys are going to be in a knockdown, drag them out fight. I'm not putting any money on this fight. This is one of the very few fights that I'm going to sit down on my couch. I'm going to grab a beer. I'm going to grab a joint, and I'm not taking the third round off like I would for Belal. I am not blinking. I'm going to glue my eyelids wide open because I do not want to miss 1 second of this matchup.
Let's go. I can't wait.
Hey, I think
go for it.
I think if Dustin Poirier decides to wrestle, that could really throw a monkey wrench in the matchup. Like Poirier is a much better wrestler than people think. Like training at ATT with like Mike Brown, Mako for all these years, having partners like Covington. ATT always has like high level wrestlers coming in and out of there. I could see Poirier taking the fight to the ground, and that would be a worst case scenario for Holloway. I know Holloway's like defense on the cage is really good. Like he's super good at like doing the splits, and he's super flexible, has a lot of great attributes. But if Poirier wants to, I think he could take the fight to the ground. And everyone was grilling me on the last show, like, oh, he's a wrestler, so he sees everything from a wrestler's point of view. I'm like, good point. But you're a fat fuck, so you see everything from a fat ass's point of view. It's like it's good. Like I'll take my point of view over yours.
I'm not that fat. Yo,
not
wait a
you,
minute.
dog.
I'm just kidding. No, actually, I would love that if Dustin Poirier mixed it up. Again, what we see with Ian Garry or other fighters, at least keep the guy guessing. I think that's great. Do some level changes, even if you have some failed takedowns. Why not keep Max on his toes? These are both such beloved fighters, but I have to. I mean, who can pick? Who's gonna root for who's going to root for Max over Dustin when it's Dustin's retirement fight, right? I mean, unless you're a diehard Max Holloway fan, I feel like I'm equal fan of both of them, but you got to root for Poirier. I think he's going to get it done. Let's talk about the next fight, though, which is a major, major fight announcement. And especially as I've been watching that new podcast with Henry Cejudo, shout out to Henry Cejudo for that cameo, by the way, but who's been doing the podcast with Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman. I've become such a big fan of Kamaru Usman since being a regular viewer of that podcast. I've been waiting for him to come back and fight. I think he's still got it. People are counting him out. I thought he did awesome against Khamzat Chimaev. I think he's still got it. I cannot wait. Let's talk about this matchup versus Joaquin Buckley. Justin, let me turn over to you first. Joaquin Buckley smashed Colby Covington in his last fight, absolutely obliterated him. Now I don't even think Colby's really training that seriously anymore. That's the feeling that I get, and that's what your boy said, even who trained with him at MMA Masters, that he's not really pushing himself anymore. These are rumors, by the way, but just saying it definitely appeared like that. And Colby said, I barely trained, not too bad for barely training. But anyways, Joaquin Buckley did get that fight, did fight that fight in impressive fashion. What do you expect for this matchup? Joaquin Buckley versus the former super champ, Kamaru Usman.
Man, Kamaru Usman is such a legend of the sport. But like I said, we're going to go back to the Anthony Smith recipe. He's had incredible knee injuries, coming up. I've heard that he has struggled. He has to walk backwards downstairs or some kind of like weird thing because of his knees. And just like I talked about with Anthony Smith, I'm going to say the same thing with Kamaru Usman. He's been there. He's done that. He continues to fight. But unfortunately, the UFC is using Kamaru Usman as a gatekeeper for this fight. And I see Joaquin Buckley really applying the pressure. Joaquin Buckley's hungry. He's athletic. He's powerful. He's strong. He just bossed Colby Covington like a fucking punk the whole fight. I loved watching it, and I expect nothing less in this matchup.
Colby, let me turn over to you. I'm hoping you're picking Kamaru Usman. Who are you picking? But you pick with your heart. Go for it.
I mean, if Usman prepares properly and he could get ready for war, like, fight for it depends. I'm sure he's sleeping in the silk sheets, like they say. He probably has a lot of money. It's probably not like he's going through hardships right now. So, and Buckley's probably a lot hungrier and really wants the eyes on him right now. He feels like it's his time. Usman could definitely take him down with his little 2-1 pull single. He does this slick little entry with good head movement. He'll go like 1-2-1 pull single to the body lock. I kind of stole that. One of my favorite entries I stole from Usman. We call it Usman. But and again, like Justin's saying, I know he's like walks around real gingerly. He walks around like an 80-year-old man. You know those videos of Shannon Sharp walking?
I haven't seen those, no.
I actually met Shannon Sharp yesterday at the airport. That was crazy impression.
Oh, that's funny.
Sharp will be like walking and he can barely move. Like his knees are so banged up from all those years of football that I don't know. Buckley probably finished the fight with a head kick.
Oh, well, let me tell you something. You mentioned the sleeping in silk sheets. That's one of the most like hackneyed phrases I feel like in mixed martial arts and boxing. And I can't speak from experience as a fighter, but I just find that but I find that to be, I just don't believe it. I think it varies from person to person. Anybody can lose steam or enthusiasm for anything, just from burnout or whatever. But I think Kamaru Usman's not that type of guy where money's going to mess up his mindset. I think he's just hungry and driven and motivated enough that he's going to put together a great camp and a great game plan. I don't think he's just going to come back to collect a paycheck. No way. So I feel like we're going to get a great Kamaru Usman. I also think he's taken off enough time carefully in a calculated way to recover. Who knows? Maybe he's even had knee surgery in this time off and hasn't told anybody. I wouldn't be surprised. So he's been biding his time, waiting for the right time. I think he's going to come back. And yes, I want him to win, but I do believe he's going to get it done. That's my 2 cents. We got a couple of comments before we move on to the next topic. Andrew saying how we always got same here, smoke on deck. Let's go, Andrew Nance. Shay Sharp is cooked. Okay, let's move it on to topic number 5. This is a big one. This came out of the pressers, the post-fight presser from Dana White. You know, I always love to listen to Dana White and everything he says because he said some very interesting things. One of which is that he is still insisting, despite this weird news from Chael saying that it's going to be Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. We talked about that last week. But he's saying that Jones versus Aspinall is still going to happen, and he's positive it's going to happen. Justin, what do we make of this? Is this just nonsense and this is just Dana putting pressure on Jon Jones, or can we take him at his word? And is this fight actually going to happen this year?
Who knows, man? It's just like Conor McGregor fighting, man. It's the same kind of storyline that I'm just kind of sick of talking about. I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of all these, over-promised, over-hyped, under-delivered situations. Conor McGregor hurts his toe. He can't fight Mike Chandler. Oh, we'll fight in 6 months. All right, well, guess what? He's still not booked. Now he's running for president. Same thing with Jon Jones, man. It's the same storyline over and over and over, rinse and repeat. I don't care anymore. I've lost all interest in this matchup. Don't care if it happens. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, don't care. It's lost all its luster to me. And, it's like, I guess I come from a generation, Colby's that new generation, and he's not, and I'm not talking trash on Colby by any means, but I come from a generation is we show up, we step on the scale, who's there to fight, and we find out who the better man is. Now, Jon Jones is more taking the approach of, and he's done everything, and he's done incredible things in the UFC, and he's arguably the best pound-for-pound fighter of all time in the history of ever. So there is that. But when there's the time to hang it up, and you look like you did against Stipe Miocic, just hang it up, man. Go off in the sunset. I think he's just trying to stay relevant just because of an ego. When you're the best fighter of all time, he wants people to talk about him. He wants to be in the news press. He loves being Jon Jones, the MMA fighter. And, honestly, maybe he's having some identity crisis because once he retires, he's just Jon Jones now. And I'm going through it. I've experienced it. I couldn't imagine experiencing it at his level. And people don't understand when you've been an MMA fighter, a professional UFC fighter, UFC champion. He had his UFC debut in 2008. He's still competing now, transitioning out of that into something else, into commentary, into, doing a podcast or whatever it is. It's very, very tough. And right now I feel Jon Jones is just trying to stay relevant. I feel he's just trying to stay in people's mouths. And I don't know if this fight's going to happen. I couldn't care less if it does or doesn't.
I can kind of echo those sentiments that it has lost its luster to me. And I'm one of the few that I'm totally fine with Jon Jones not taking this fight. I actually wanted that at the beginning. I want him to walk off in the sunset with this great record intact. I don't feel he has any need whatsoever to prove anything against Tom Aspinall. So I'm fine with it happening like that. Colby, let me turn it over to you. Do you feel the same way as Justin and I, or are you still chomping at the bit for this fight and still believe it will happen?
I don't think it's gonna happen. Just like Justin's saying, Jon Jones is trying to drive the price up as much as possible to get it to an amount that that he'll have to take. Like if it's crazy pay, I'm sure Jones would probably do it because Jones is a wild dude. I bet he has expensive habits and he probably buys a lot of shit, if you know what I mean.
Yes, sir.
So I'm sure at some point Jones is going to need the money, but I don't know if he wants any part of that, bro. Aspinall's a bad motherfucker, dog, and he's only getting better and hungrier. So I don't know. I think also Jones was always kind of like a weight bully too at 205. He was always the bigger man. If that makes sense.
I've heard people say that too. I mean,
and Aspinall's a giant. He's not.
He is.
It's not like if I were Jones, I'd be like looking to fight a guy like obviously not Israel now because of the losses that he's took, but like some type of 205 situation. Like he wanted that super fight. Yeah, that's a perfect scenario for him. A guy with no grappling, or just like Ciryl Gane, no grappling whatsoever. I hate to be a hater, but dude, I don't think Ciryl Gane could win a high school wrestling match at heavyweight, dude.
What did we just talk about last week, Hoots?
Justin
that's exactly what I said too.
Justin lit him up. We have a short on it right now, and it's still like trending. It's still getting a ton of views. Yeah, Justin is not a fan of Ciryl Gane's wrestling, and not a fan of him as a fighter. Period.
Tap into that guillotine and so fast, it didn't fight it at all. It was,
Wait. Did you hear our show last week? Because you're quoting me exactly. Like the first thing I'm going to do if I put Colby in a guillotine, he's going to fight the hands. And if he can't fight the hands, he's going to roll out to his back. He's not going to tap like a bitch. Now, if Colby locks me in a guillotine, I'm probably going to tap like a bitch because this guy has like little mutant arms and the leverage he has in his guillotines are so strong, he's going to break my neck. But regardless to that, Ciryl Gane has his chance to fight the best fighter in the world, and he panic taps. We call it, correct me if I'm wrong, we call it panic tapping. Ask Kobe. If you get in a submission, you tap quick, it's called panic tap. unless your arm is about to break or your leg's about to get blown off, when you're getting choked and tap quick, daddy, let me out. Like, that's called a panic tap. And when you're fighting for the UFC championship, go to sleep. You watch Leon Machida fight John Jones. He got caught. That mother effer didn't panic tap. He went to sleep like a man. And I just have a lot of, Cyril Gane had a chance, man. He had a chance to show the world how great he was. And guess what? We all have chances and we blunder them. I've done it. Jeez, I do it every freaking day. But at least when I'm blundering, I'm trying to do the correct things to make things right. And he just didn't do anything correct. And I was just so unimpressed. And I lost money in the fight. So it's like, I'm more mad about it.
That's the real reason why Justin's so heated up. By the way, I want to put Jasper's comment back up. He said at this point, he's in response to him reporting that Chael's fighting, that Aspinall is fighting Cyril Gane in this next fight. He says at this point, Chael's just making things up. Before the Gane fight, he said Jones had an affair with Valentina Shevchenko. Dude, I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments in terms of Chael, but I just want to put this out there. And I know Jesse on Fire is our buddy and he's good friends with Chael, but man, I cannot listen to Chael. I feel like he starts all his videos without any idea of what he's going to say. And he just goes in circles and talks nonsense. And I do think he fabricates things. I don't know if he's doing it because he thinks it's fun. I literally can't watch him. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat if you guys agree, but I don't think I've watched the full Chael video. Maybe I'll accidentally click on like good guy, bad guy or something, but I haven't watched the full Chael video probably in like a year and a half, seriously, which is crazy. But anyways, let's move on to topic number 6 as we close out the show today. Thank you both thank you, Kobe, for, of course, joining after your amazing performance. We're going to end with this, and maybe we'll wrap up a couple more takeaways from Colby, this up-and-coming fighter that is joining us right now that just had a 20-second victory on Friday. DDP versus Khamzat, another little tidbit that we were able to glean from the Dana White presser. He says the fight is done. He said, we're definitely getting this fight. It's all done. We're just waiting for the announcement of the date. Dana White himself, though, did say it's not happening on International Fight Week. I think we already knew that. But I guess they're going to announce pretty soon when the fight is. Justin, what are your thoughts? When do you think this thing is going down and where?
Man, when you talk about the fight with being scheduled and then, DDP getting injured, there's a lot of unanswered, allegedly. There's a lot of, I have no idea, to be honest, man. I was hoping there would be International Fight Week. Again, I hate these long layoffs Khamzat takes. I know he just fought earlier this year, but if he doesn't fight until next year, another year layoff, and out of sight, out of mind, man. I want this guy to stay active because I think he's as good as you say he is. But if you're not fighting consistently and not showing the fans, like, you just lose your luster, and then when he comes back, everyone gets excited. Then now we have another layoff here. And I think it's a great matchup, man. And, DDP have lost too much money betting against him. I'm probably not going to bet this fight unless there's a huge underdog circumstance. If DDP is like a plus 160 or plus 200, I might put a little bit of bread on it. But this is, again, one of those fights that I'm going to tune in regardless. I don't know when it's going to happen. If I had to guess, springtime of next year.
What? Stop it.
Dude, we don't know how long. Dude, for one, Khamzat's fine with taking long layoffs, and we don't know how serious or unserious this quote unquote injury is. We don't know if he's injured. We don't know if he's not injured, with all this shit going down. Springtime of next year. I don't know, man. I don't want it to wait. I don't want to wait that long. I wanted to fight International Fight Week, but once that fight got canceled, springtime of next year.
Okay, Colby, let me turn it over to you. I hope you have a more optimistic read on this. When do you think it's going down? And give us another read on how the fight goes down. I know a lot of people were pissed off last time when you said what you said, but let's piss them off again. Go for it.
I have no idea when it's going to go down, but I know that first flurry that Khamzat puts on DDP, I don't know if DDP will survive it. I know DDP is giant for 185, and he has a lot of finishes himself, and he's a little better grappler than people think. He's got that blitzy style where he walks with his punches. He does a lot of what people think is like unorthodox, but it's very effective. They left that part out that I said DDP is like a gangster and super effective and a great fighter, but I just see Chimaev taking him down and finishing him in some sort of rear naked, guillotine, Darce, anaconda, getting his neck some way. But I couldn't tell you about when it'll actually happen. I don't know if, I guess when someone's hurting for money enough is when it'll happen.
True. And I just hope that these rumors about this injury, I just hope it's like, if it is an injury, which I do believe there is something wrong. I think they were trying to get it for International Fight Week. So I think something's wrong. I do not think it's going to be a year from now. I think it's either going to be in August or September is my guess. And I think that would also line up with a card in the Middle East, but we shall see. Let's stay optimistic. Let's hope. As we close out the show, we're going to stop our topics and we're going to turn it back over to Kobe. So guys, if you're joining now and you don't know who Kobe Fayer is, oops, I clicked on the,
I just want to see what that was. I clicked that.
No worries. So just to introduce or reintroduce Kobe. Kobe just had a fight. He trained at Extreme Couture. He's one of the youngest guys in terms of his career that has been signed, maybe the youngest in terms of how many professional fights he's had, to be signed by Dominance MMA, which is Ali Abdelaziz. So he is extremely selective and he's got the best fighters on his roster. Kobe is part of that roster. And there's a reason why Kobe's on that roster, because he just fought in the Tough Enough promotion, the #1 feeder to the UFC, and had a first round 22nd submission victory, which is insane. So Kobe, as we turn it over to you, Justin has said there's so much hype behind you. This obviously proves the hype in spades. What do you think is next for you in terms of, I know Justin said he wants to stay active, but hopefully making your UFC debut this year. What is in the immediate future for Kobe Fayer?
May 29th, I'm grappling for UFC Fight Pass Invitational. I was supposed to go against this kid, Dorian Olivares, who was ADCC runner-up, #1 high school wrestler in the country. I trained with him one time, actually, at Extreme, and I spanked his ass. And now he's saying he hurt his back leading up to the matchup. And, I mean, I don't know. My back's been hurt since I was 3 years old. I've been wrestling all my life. So it's like, I don't really feel bad for your back. But so I was supposed to grapple him, which would have been a nice step up in competition and a big name to like make me relevant in the jiu-jitsu world, I guess. But I'm grappling for, I think it's called UFC Fight Pass Invitational 11.
Okay.
So that's on the 29th of next month. So I'm going to hop in. I'm going to obviously spar and train like I always do for MMA, but pick up my jiu-jitsu a little more, focus a little bit on grappling because it'd be nice to get a win for Fight Pass Invitational, obviously, because like Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard, the UFC is like heavily involved in it. It's owned by the UFC. So if I could go there and kind of show out and like do something that they haven't seen before, that'd be nice. And then I'm gonna turn around and try to hop on the next card for Tough Enough. I signed a 3-fight deal with them, so I completed one of the 3 fights. I really liked what they had going on as far as the production. The show is like well ran. The way it looked, like it felt right. It looked like it was run better than freaking PFL. You know, it looked like a great show. I felt like I belonged there, to be honest. But
that is amazing. I'd love to know, did you talk to Ali Abdelaziz after that fight? And if so, what did he say to you?
yeah, he called me before the fight and he called me after the fight. Before the fight, he says, Kobe, I've seen thousands of fighters. I don't know anybody as talented as you.
What?
He said, all you have to do is have fun and you're going to kill this guy. See what you do to people in training. Then he called me after the fight and he's like, I told you. So all you have to do, have fun. You'll kill anybody. But yeah, him and Ferdaz, that's who I do all my. I speak to Ferdaz and Ali a couple times a month. They've been super loyal and overall really good to me, and put me in a lot of good rooms. Brought me to train with Khabib and a lot of high level guys. So, and they've never seen me get my ass whooped. And I'm not saying that to be cocky or anything, but I've trained with the who's who, and I always stack up very well. You know, like they have a rule on the Russian, like on the Dagestan like fight team, like, hey, we don't tap to chokes, but I've gotten a few of them to tap to chokes. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, snap. He's talking about he's training with Khabib and Islam, the famed Dagestani team that is just incredible. That Kobe talked about that on our last show. As we close out, I just want to remind you guys, Kobe Fayer Jr., check him out if you can see those Tough Enough highlights. But dude, Ali Abdelaziz, who has like 100 fighters. I don't know if it's 100, but he has like so many fighters under his management company. Call Kobe after his fight and said, I've never seen anybody as talented as you. So we're getting somebody on the show right now that is about to be a rising star in the UFC. He's on the cusp of stardom. This is incredible. So guys, make sure to check out Kobe and check out his next fight in Tough Enough. As you mentioned, he's got 2 fights left on that deal. And I want to thank everybody so much for the growth, the continued support. Thank you guys for joining along. The shows now are getting more views after the fact in addition to the live engagement. So we just want to say thank you. And we hope people are enjoying the show because we're having a blast. We hope you are as well. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you in the next episode.
And don't let
easy.
Justin sandbag you. I've seen him put somebody to sleep with a head and arm choke a handful of times. And don't let him play you. As soon as they say go live, Justin's a hammer. I know he's been very complimentary towards me, but I've seen him beat on a lot of people. Like when I got here, Gray Maynard was like, "Hey, Justin James is a killer," so I started studying. So it feels good to hear someone like Justin say that I'm, a great fighter and all that. But like I came here with a pen and pad, and I started studying guys like Justin, Gray Maynard. These are the type of guys I aspire to be like. So to hear them say these things is a big compliment. So thanks for having me.
Heck yeah, dude. Thank you. And Johnny Monday to close out the show says thanks to Kobe, Huzaifa, and Justin for another great show. You are welcome, and we will see you next time. Take it easy.